President Obama, who can sometimes seem cool and distant, broke into tears today at the White House talking about the victims of gun violence. Not just talking, in fact, taking action on gun control. The reaction was fast and fierce, from survivors to the streets of Chicago to the NRA. My Nightline co-anchor Byron Pitts was tracking it all.
It was a rare glimpse at America's parent-in-chief.
And from every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun.
Camera clicks the only sound in the White House East Room as the normally stoic President Obama openly wept and paused to compose himself.
Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
Surrounded by families of gun victims today, the president remembering the children shot to death at Sandy Hook Elementary and all the times he had to respond to a mass shooting.
Fort Hood, Binghamton, Aurora, Oak Creek, Newtown, the Navy Yard, Charleston, San Bernardino. Too many.
But today it was the same subject, but different words. Announcing new executive actions aimed at tightening gun laws, curbing gun sales, at the heart of his new plan to sidestep Congress and close the loophole that allows weapons to be purchased without a background check at gun shows and online.
The gun lobby may be holding Congress hostage right now, but they cannot hold America hostage. The folks in this room will not rest until Congress does.
His words echoing those of the victims turned advocates around him.
On a Monday morning, a gunman burst in and started opening fire.
Like Colin Goddard, a survivor of the 2007 Virginia Tech massacre.
32 of my classmates and teachers that day were killed in what has, become the worst mass shooting in American history so far.
Leading him to become an advocate for everytown.org.
I kept seeing mass shootings happen in this country repeatedly, and seeing elected officials, some of them, say that, there's nothing we can do about this, thoughts and prayers, and that was it. Just became, unacceptable.
For the last 6 years, he's been raising awareness on what he calls gun sale loopholes, going undercover to show just how easy it can be to purchase firearms at gun shows. And today's announcement, he says, was a watershed moment, a sign that grassroots advocates like him were cutting through to lawmakers.
It was incredibly moving and emotional in that regard, and just encouraging to hear that the hard work that we all have done over the years cut through to the person holding the highest office in this country.
And the reaction from some running for that office has been swift and fierce.
These orders today, I believe, are not worth the paper they are written on.
President Obama's executive actions limiting gun rights will restrict our law-abiding citizens.
The NRA going a step further, calling his plans unconstitutional, saying the proposed executive actions are ripe for abuse by the Obama administration, which has made no secret of its contempt for the Second Amendment.
Well, I think everybody should be concerned, but I don't think it'll ever happen. But just to make sure, we want to get our permits right now.
And today, fears of losing the right to bear arms sent this father and daughter to apply for gun permits in New York.
I think it's better to be safe than sorry, to get it and so that you have it.
The expected high sales sent gun stocks like Smith & Wesson on an upwards tear. Gun control remains one of the country's most divisive issues. In a recent poll, the public split almost exactly even between protecting gun ownership rights and enacting new gun control laws. Gun safety.
Long overdue.
Define it. Wave a magic wand.
It's a divisiveness I saw firsthand last month when we asked a group of young activists to discuss the biggest issues facing the nation.
If someone wants to cause you harm, they're going to cause you harm whether they have a firearm or a spoon.
When someone comes into a classroom with a spoon and kills a bunch of people, then we can talk about spoons.
Among them, Colin Goddard, one of Obama's guests today at the White House. And Christy Messenger.
We're not afraid of inanimate objects. We're afraid of the people behind the inanimate object.
A YouTube sensation who teaches women how to shoot, saying it's empowering. In response to Obama's words today, Christy sent us this video.
Mr. Obama's executive order is not intended to, nor will it reduce violent crimes. Obfuscated by political rhetoric, this is an attack on our freedom and our privacy.
Second Amendment rights are important, but there are other rights that we care about as well, and we have to be able to balance them. Our unalienable right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, those rights were stripped from college kids in Blacksburg and Santa Barbara, from high schoolers at Columbine, and from first graders in Newtown.
He also spoke of gun violence becoming ingrained in daily life, like in his hometown.
And by the way, it happens on the streets of Chicago every day.
This is my son, my baby.
Pam Bosley knows the pain of losing a loved one to gun violence. Her oldest son, Terrell, would have turned 28 today. The last time they talked, guess where he was?
He was at church. I was like, baby, be careful. And he was like, Ma, come on now, you always worrying, you always worrying. I'm good, I don't know why you tripping. Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. Then my next call was, my baby been shot.
He was 18, a college freshman, gunned down on his way into choir practice on Chicago's South Side. Terrell collapsed at the pastor's feet.
I need you now.
I need you. The songs that once soothed Pam's soul now only add to her suffering.
Okay, I can't watch no more. That's my baby. So I really don't watch the videos because he's supposed to be still here singing.
Pam's son, just one of the thousands who have died here in the last 10 years. Chicago has one of the nation's highest murder rates, a city known to some as Chirac, because there are more deaths here than casualties during the Iraq War. So afraid of the danger outside their front door, Pam and her husband built this backyard patio.
This is the safe haven spot that I put together for Terrell.
It didn't protect Terrell, so now she keeps an even tighter grip on her two remaining sons.
Lovely as your home is, it seems like it's a prison.
Yeah, it is. My middle son told me one day, he was like, Mom, you got me living inside this box. Come on, can you let me out? So I try to let him out a little bit, but it is a prison.
Since her son's death, Pam founded Purpose Over Pain, a grassroots anti-gun violence organization, in the hopes that other parents won't have to suffer a similar tragedy. You gonna be okay?
You know what? I'm gonna be okay when I die and go to heaven with my son Terrell and with God.
Today, as the nation refocuses its attention on gun control, Pam visits the grave of her son, taking to social media to post this photo next to her son's headstone with the message, "Thank you, President Obama, for using your power to save lives." But with many in this country saying tonight the president is abusing his power and his proposed gun control plan won't save lives, but will trample on our rights as citizens. Even the president says there's a long road ahead to any resolution. For Nightline, I'm Byron Pitts in New York.